afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar, Cost-Effective Strategies for eDiscovery. With an increase in workload for law firms and corporate law department professionals, litigation support and eDiscovery departments will be growing. Firms need to save time and money when working with large quantities of electronic documents. Whether you're working with email, TIFFs, PDFs, photos, Microsoft Office documents, graphics, video, and/or audio files, lawyers need an easy-to-use system that is also cost-efficient to manage this information. During today's program, our presenters will cover how to search, organize, and manage large volumes of electronic documents, work more efficiently, apply coding to classify, prioritize, and organize documents based on relevance, and most importantly, save time and reduce costs. The presenters for today's program is the team from MerlinOne, Shawn Houston, Patty Zisk, and David Farrell. Shawn has been providing consultative eDiscovery solutions to legal community for more than 19 years. In his current role as the Director of Legal Solutions for MerlinOne, he advises clients using the software as a solution eDiscovery review platform, Level Review 3.0, to manage electronically stored information during the discovery phase of litigation. Shawn also acts as a consultant to his clients in the practices of the collection, processing, review, and production of data in accordance with industry-accepted standards, both directly and as a frequent contributor to the eDiscovery Solutions blog. He has worked on numerous high-profile cases during his career, including governmental second requests related to major airline mergers, federal and state attorney general investigations, SEC financial fraud investigations, and Enron-related criminal and civil litigation, and other major civil and criminal matters. Patty Zisk comes to MerlinOne with over 25 years of experience in the legal field and a strong background in technology. Her expertise in electronic discovery, specifically in managing complex litigation matters both from a vendor and a client perspective, and has over 10 years of litigation support experience in federal agencies, corporate law firms, pharma, and eDiscovery providers. Patty specializes in data manipulation, optimizing data workflows, and creating complex statistical reports using SQL, SSRS, and SSIS. She also has extensive experience providing business analysis, UX design considerations, project management, and consultation in developing eDiscovery review tools. And finally, David Farrell has extensive background in graphic design and joined MerlinOne in 2006 as its trade show coordinator and marketing specialist. He was promoted to marketing and sales manager, where he targets opportunities for potential growth in new markets. Along with his active marketing efforts, David loves to spend time training clients on a Level Review 3.0 to help them achieve success in their case. He particularly enjoys helping new users achieve the aha moment when starting out. We will take questions throughout today's program. If you have a specific question, please use the chat or Q&A feature located on the right-hand side of the screen to submit your question to the presenter. We encourage all attendees to submit questions throughout today's presentation. Tomorrow morning, I will send out an email with the link to the archived recording of this program. We do ask that you take time to fill out the survey that will appear on your screen after today's program is over. I now invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm going to turn the presentation over to our distinguished guest, the MerlinOne team.
Guys, can you hear me?
We're good to go.
All right, great. Thanks, Matt. This is Shawn Houston, just so everyone knows who's talking. I want to first say I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day to join our presentation here. In a general sense, and David and Patty and I will be going over some specifics regarding eDiscovery and on handling electronic data in this kind of new age that we're in, and how that translates to the practice of law and discovery in general. One thing that we consistently hear, even in this day and age, from our attorney clients and those in the field, is that there's still a hesitation and reluctance around eDiscovery, and where people even say they don't want to deal with it, and that they don't do eDiscovery, so to speak. But in the current state of the world and the practice of the law, eDiscovery is something that we all deal with on a daily basis, whether we realize it or not. If we deal with client emails related to a case, or even something as simple as paper documents that were scanned into PDF, even in those cases, you are already dealing in the eDiscovery realm. So it's not something to be fearful of. It's not something to be hesitant about dealing with. But we want to hopefully provide a foundation with some information in this presentation to help people understand what it is and how to better deal with these situations. There we go. So the TASA Group and MerlinOne with our level review tool, we partnered up as a way to hopefully provide more options on achieving efficiency in your practice areas, and to provide and offer some tools to allow you to better manage your case data from wherever you have some connectivity, and also offer some best practices for handling this type of data. Many times with clients that we deal with, they're in a stage now where their documents they receive in PDF format, where they're searching and reviewing them in Adobe Acrobat, or in cases where they receive email documents, or even documents like Word, Excel, Microsoft Office documents. There's a tendency to want to deal with them in a very manual way, in the typical way you deal with your own documents. So you deal with them, if you have PDFs, you click and open them, you search for them through Adobe. If you have Word documents from a client, you want to open them on your desktop through your desktop Microsoft applications, or even emails, open them through their native applications like Microsoft Outlook. The problem with doing this in a litigation scenario is, one, dealing with many files in those ways can be slow. Trying to search through items such as Adobe or Outlook, as the volume of information rises, it can take in a lot of time, to be blunt. These tools also have limitations in terms of scalability, and also in terms of features on how you can search and categorize and organize those documents. And a final concern, and also a significant concern that everyone should consider, is when managing litigation documents through those means, it opens up the possibility of spoliation of that data, which can lead to sanctions. Now, for those that aren't familiar with the concept of spoliation in eDiscovery, Patty, if you could just give a quick, brief synopsis of kind of what spoliation is in eDiscovery.
Can everyone hear me? There's basically two concepts that we're talking about when we're affecting native documents or user-created files. One, when you're opening the document in its native application or even other application, you can potentially affect, destroy, alter the metadata. I'm sure we've all read articles changing date creates, date modifies, things like that. Spoliation specifically is referring to the destruction, deliberate, intentional, of deleting in the normal course of business or in preparation litigation documents that should have been retained, which obviously can harm your firm or your client and incur sanctions.
So as Patty was saying, the spoliation of data, which is essentially changing the data, whether inadvertently or on purpose, can lead to sanctions in your case. And I know that's something that obviously no one on this call would want. So these are some things to consider as you're putting together some practices on how you deal with data. And if you do these things now, I would say don't be alarmed. There's thousands and thousands of people, many people that still use these tools today to manage their data. But there are better ways to do it that can, one, eliminate slowness issues and help speed and efficiency, give you more tools at your fingertips to manage your data, and also, like I said, put in some best practices to avoid things like potential spoliation-related sanctions. Again, as we were discussing, some of the current options we try and see people work with today are things like Adobe, and with Adobe Acrobat files and PDFs, within Adobe you can run a search for a particular word. In this case, in this slide, the user searched for the word cat, and the word cat was found within the document. The problem, as I was just talking about, with doing things this way is when you start going from a few documents to hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of documents, there's a significant opportunity to waste a lot of time and money looking at documents that aren't relevant to your case. And it's just, wasted time, for you or for your coworkers looking at documents that just are irrelevant. The larger document volume also can present with these kind of with tools like such as this a higher risk of missing the relevant or privileged documents in your case. And tracking and organizing your data and your documents, with these tools can be unmanageable, and as the volume increases, downright impossible. Now, one solution to this, with the increase in technology available, is tools that can help you search, organize, and manage these large or small volumes of electronic documents in a database solution. And a database solution gives you flexibility and ways to search and organize your data that these manual tasks through individual applications would limit you by. For MerlinOne and the TASA Group, we have our solution called Level Review 3.0. And some of the benefits that a solution like ours, which is database driven with your individual case data, it provides you the ability to analyze and review, millions of documents, emails, transcripts, photos, graphics, whatever data you may have associated with your case in one central repository. And again, one of the benefits with today's tools are they're much simpler than they have been in the past. much more easy to use, faster, and especially with the increase in connection speed with internet connectivity, the speed and benefit of these tools has grown significantly.
Excuse me, Shawn, we have a question that just came in. This is to everyone on the MerlinOne team. With relation to what you just spoke about, how steep is the learning curve to review data electronically, to use a new tool like this as compared to the old tools that you went over on the previous slide?
Thanks, Matt. That's actually a very good question. Surprisingly, the tools in this day and age and level review, which we partner with the TASA Group on, the learning curve is very short, much shorter than even just a few years ago. Kind of as Matt said in the beginning, I've been in the litigation support and eDiscovery arena for almost 20 years, and over that time, the tools have, so obviously were initially complex, but now there's the ability to pick up and learn some of these tools in a matter of minutes. We have many of our clients, within 15 or 20 minutes are in the system and reviewing their documents and searching their documents and finding their data. It's interesting. We, as an example, we had some clients who have dealt with all of their documents in either paper or PDF format. And in that one particular case, they had 40,000 documents, which would have equated to a couple 100,000 pages if they had printed out. And within the training session alone, we were able to find the smoking gun document with a simple search. And that was without even that was just in the training session, which lasted for maybe 20 minutes. So the speed to get into the data and find what you're looking for has significantly improved over the years and is a enormous benefit.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions at this time, so why don't we continue on with the presentation?
Now the benefits of using something like Level Review 3.0 or a database solution as to manual means, it's instead of working through one page or one document at a time, you can locate and retrieve all of the documents you're looking for, and in many times under a second. Whereas if you're manually going through documents, it could take many minutes, hours, or even potentially days. And doing this, you can do it through searching. And with searching and indexing capabilities in a system such as Level Review, there are some benefits to that as well. You have the ability to not only run searches on your data, but you can save those search results and save the search itself, so you can see who reviewed the data. You can view who looked at the documents, the date and time of review, and you can also categorize and tag the documents when you find the documents that you were looking for. So you can determine and categorize them as responsive or privileged, and forever going forward, unless somebody changes those categorizations and tags, those documents will be always categorized as such so you can find them easily in the future. And this is definitely one of the benefits of having a tool such as this to manage your data, as opposed to moving client documents around on your own computer or on a server for your firm. As I was just stating, one of the benefits being the ability to classify and prioritize and organize your documents. I think this point can't be understated, because of the difficulties that do arise, when you're managing documents in a manual manner, and the difficulties, about making sure that you have everything when it comes time for your production to opposing counsel. In addition to one of the benefits of using a system like this is reduced cost. Obviously, in this day and age, cost is going to be an issue to everybody. But one of the benefits to a database-driven system, such as Level Review, is that you have the ability to cut down the time spent reviewing. And there have been, studies over the years, and without question, the largest cost associated with the discovery cycle is absolutely the time necessary of attorneys reviewing the documents. And with a tool such as this, we have the ability to cut that down to find the most relevant documents. So rather than searching for documents, you can find what you're looking for and actually work on building your case. Some of the special features that are available these days with multiple types of data are the ability to manage file data like social media, multimedia, audio, and video. And historically, managing this type of data has been the ability to just listen to it, to audio or video files. And in cases where you may have hundreds of hours of audio, or in this day or these days, again, voicemail could be relevant to a case. Listening to hours and hours of these things can be mind-numbing, to say the least. So there are options out there, including in the tool that we're going to show you momentarily, to search on this data to find just the most relevant passages that you're looking for. So you can get back to working on the facts of your case and building your case and your practice, as opposed to just hunting for documents. So,
Shawn, we had a question that came in that I think is relevant to what you were talking about. Most of the examples and files that you've talked about are native to desktop systems. With the explosion of mobile devices, does this system allow you to discover electronic files and audio and video that are found on mobile devices as well?
Hi there, this is Dave Farrell. Yes, we do. I mean, it's kind of funny that you brought that up. We're actually starting to see a rise in this. First it was in social media, but now, people's smartphones are actually becoming small miniature laptops. And, information like texting, voice recording, shooting video, shooting audio, or recording audio, is all items that can be forensically collected and actually reviewed in a system like ours. So the nice thing about having the multimedia capability is, with information that's text, that is something that's easily searched in most systems. But audio and video is a whole other thing, where we have a proprietary piece of technology that actually indexes those type of files and be able to search them by the spoken word. And I'm going to show that to you momentarily.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions in the queue, so why don't we continue on with the presentation, David? Okay,
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my desktop, and I'm just going to do a couple quick searches. And what we're looking at here is this is our search screen, what we call our analysis tab. And I just want to preface, if any of you would like to see something more in depth as far as the product, please, we can arrange this through the TASA folks, and we can give you a proper demonstration. So, as Shawn was speaking earlier, you can use things like Acrobat, and no different than paper. You're going to be looking at documents one at a time. At least in Acrobat, we can search on a keyword and find different instances in the document. The problem is you can end up looking at a lot of irrelevant data. What's nice about when you bring it into a database type system is we index all these words as these documents come in. This way, we can search all the documents at one time and bring back the things we want to look at versus going through all the information that is potentially irrelevant. So just to kind of point something out, we can look down here in if you see my pointer down in this lower right, and we see there's around 20,000 documents. And 20,000 documents in the paper world really equates to about a little over 250,000 pages. So if you had that printed out at your local shop, that would be 35 boxes coming towards you. So, just roughly, if I was going to stack them 5 high and they were going to go like 21 rows deep, you'd have to have some space in your office of about 40 feet just to find, and go through these documents. So the question is, when you start thinking in those terms, if I'm looking for something like, we were pointing out before, the word cat, how long would it take someone? And I'll tell you, I do a lot of the training, and it's usually an attorney, a paralegal, an associate. And if they had, something, set of boxes that high and that long, say, hey, find me all the documents with just those words in it. We're not talking minutes, we're not talking days, we're talking weeks. But in a database, we can find those things in seconds. So here in these 20,000 documents, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in the free text search box. I'm going to put stock and share. These are 2 keywords. So the fact that I put and, it means I am looking for documents that just have the words stock and share it. So out of these 250,000 pages, all I have to do is hit search, and it's going to bring me back 52 documents that have those words. All I have to do is come in, and I open one up, and we actually bring you to where stock or share are inside the document. So you have to ask yourself, when you're looking at that mountain of paper, how long is it going to take me? How long is that going to be in cost, not just to the people in my firm, but the client, as far as trying to find the relevant information. The other thing to keep in mind with doing it this way is we reduce our risk of missing things. Because if you're looking through paper, it is very easy to overlook important words or phrases as we start going through thousands of pages. This way, we can bring back these documents with a lot of confidence that we've caught everything in our matter. Now, I'm just going to move back here again, because one of the things Shawn had pointed out is we can handle multimedia files. So just like the text that we indexed and were able to search, we also can search audio and video files. So I'm going to open up this video file, and in our system, what you'll see is you'll come to it, you'll see stock and share was spoken 6 times in this video. So all I have to do is click on it.
What does stock sales do? We find undervalued, secure.
Now go to the next one.
Of the stocks you sell, how many are worth more 6 months? $20 a share, I think.
There's a huge time savings here in a lot of different ways. Most people now will not even deal with audio and video. They don't want to have to sit and listen to it. They don't want to have it taken out to have it transcribed. If you have the ability to come in and search for it, find the relevant passages, then you're not going to miss important information, and you're not going to spend a tremendous amount of time doing it. And that's really the beauty of working with databases and being able to index not just text files, but also multimedia. So what I'm going to do here is we'll get back to the slideshow, and I'm just going to click back, and we'll move to our next slide. And, we have a lot of different tools to make things happen quickly. One of the things is we have this thing called the email alerter, and really this is a really neat tool because, as a paralegal or an attorney, I'm not working on one case or two cases. I have 5 going at the same time. In our system, what we're able to do, a lot of times when the other side is producing data to you, they're producing it in chunks. So you can set alerts up in the system so when certain amounts of data come in, and you, by keyword, by custodian, by some type of information, the system will actually kick you an email keeping you abreast of what has come in that's important to you and allowing you or your team the ability to get ahead of it before it gets overwhelming. Other things that we can do is analytical reports. Now what this means is you have this mountain of data, and in that mountain there's some good stuff, and I need to have a handle really on where the good stuff is. So it's not a matter of just searching documents, but what we can do is we can come in and start testing keywords, and we can start finding out how many of these keywords hit in our database. We also can start to find out who are some of the people that these keywords might be hitting with. It could be a custodian, an author, it could be in an email, it could be in an Excel spreadsheet. But what we're able to do is we're able to start to refine what we're looking for inside this data. So really the thing that we kind of touched upon a little while ago is, do I have to be a database expert? I went to school to be a lawyer. I went to school to be a paralegal. I did not go to school to be an IT person. And the thing is, when people look at this type of information, they don't realize that they've already been using eDiscovery tools all the way along in their normal everyday lives. And what I mean by that is what you have is you use things like Google or Yahoo or Bing or AOL. You search databases by keyword. So you're already searching information by using something that's commonly used in the eDiscovery tools. Other things are if you've used things like Outlook or some type of an email program, everybody has written an email and actually searched for when they did it, who they sent it to, and so on. That's another eDiscovery tool. The jump is, as far as when you start getting into an eDiscovery product, we can search things, we can classify things, we can prioritize things, but as we find relevant information, we will then what we call code it, and we will start to put tags on it. For a lot of you people that have been working with paper, like my wife, because she's a paralegal, you put little sticky notes on the sides of paper. You put little sticky notes on the sides of boxes. The thing you hope for is nobody opens a window in the wind and all your sticky notes go blowing away. Well, in an electronic discovery setting, that doesn't happen. We put these what we call code marks or issue codes on documents, so when we find something that is relevant to our case, we can put this little flag on it electronically, and we can come back to it later on.
I'd also really like to highlight a point that David was making, in that even after kind of this discussion and seeing a glimpse at some of the things in a system like we just showed you with searching in level review that you can do in using some of these tools, there's still questions around what is the expertise needed to manage something like this, because there can still be a perception that there's a level of technical knowledge necessary in managing it. And if you're talking about enterprise level systems, and by that I mean a system that would sit on the servers of your firm, that you would need to have an IT department to manage, or you would need to purchase servers and software licenses, and to manage everything, all the goings on of that software, and you also have even desktop applications, and even those document management platforms, still need to be managed. Databases can become corrupt. So there's still loading of data that needs to be done. But one of the benefits with the adoption of cloud technology, or what's considered cloud technology, is the ability to have someone else manage that server farm for you in a secure environment, and give you the ability to securely log in and view your data. And the benefits of that option as opposed to enterprise or desktop applications is there's no cost to you in terms of having to purchase software licenses up front, having to buy multiple servers, multiple hardware, firewalls, web servers, and then also pay people to manage those things. Whether you have an IT department in-house now or not, you still need a staff to manage those things 24/7. You need backups. You need fault tolerance and security measures built in. And again, the benefit of a hosted solution over those is that those things are taken care of for you, so you can focus on what you do best, which is the practice of the law, and let someone else handle those things. And those costs are already built in to the costs of the application and using the software. So there's not that extra hit and charges that you need to worry about. So, and again, the benefit of that is it takes that responsibility off of your shoulders, so you can focus on what you need to do with your client documents and your client data. So there, and again, with that and the training and the learning curve that has been diminished over the years, with the kind of advent of software that's really easy to use and intuitive, the ability to get going using tools such as this is not only cost less time-wise, but also cost less in money.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have a couple questions here, Shawn, David, and Patty, that I'd like to get to. And I also think after we get through a couple of these questions, it might be beneficial to go back to the site and show people how they can flag and tag and categorize different documents. But we had a question come in that asked, most of his documents are in paper form. How will he get the paper documents into the system, or does this system only work with electronic files?
No, that's a very good question. The system will work with documents of any kind, no matter how they originated. So whether it's original email or paper-based documents that need to be reviewed. Now, with paper-based documents, they would just need to be scanned or imaged into an electronic form, like a PDF or TIFF, and then those could be easily uploaded by our staff for you for view into the system. So it's just a matter of putting them into an electronic form that could be put into the system to be searched.
In addition, you want to make sure that they're OCR'd, so they can be, that text that's captured from those images can be indexed and then obviously searched alongside your other electronic documents. So they can live together in the same environment. So if you're searching for stock and share, you're searching your emails, your other electronic documents, and your paper documents all in one shot.
Yeah, that's a great point. Those paper documents that you get, that you either scan in yourself or you have a document service provider scan for you, as they're loaded into a system such as this, they would be made searchable using optical character recognition technology, so you could run these searches and find your documents very quickly, just as if it was a Word document, just as if it was an email or any other file type.
Okay, thank you. Shawn, David, and Patty, many of these documents that will be loaded into the system are of a sensitive nature. What sort of security and protections are out there to make sure that that these documents do not get into the wrong hands and that they stay visible only to those who need to see them?
This is Dave Farrell again. I'll just let you know that there's a lot of talk about cloud-based technologies. MerlinOne has been doing this for 20 years. In some of our other markets, we have security is utmost. I'll just throw out one of our clients, the Executive Office of the White House. So if we're not secure with them, we will have a few issues with them being a client. But if you have to talk about the technology, the actual system that we have is in what we call a SaaS 70 facility. It is completely self-contained. To get to the data, we have 3 firewalls. We only expose the text. We don't expose the actual native files to anyone. Also, our security is all encrypted. So, we've never had an issue where anybody's ever hacked in 20 years has hacked into any of our systems.
So, and just to kind of add on to that, what David was saying, beyond just the firewall security and the encoded security, is and something additional that was encoded into the software, whereas to get when a user sends a command through the web to the system to view the documents they want, those commands we actually apply a Merlin fingerprint to. And the only commands that make it to where the data lives are the ones with that Merlin fingerprint that were created by Merlin software. So that what that does is anyone who would be out there trying to break into a system, without our fingerprints on what they're doing, they would not be able to do that. In addition to that, we also have developed a system that is completely fault tolerant. And what fault tolerant means is that if there's ever a single point of failure, that there is a backup system waiting to take over in the event something like that happened. So if for whatever reason, one server went down, there's another one there for it immediately to fail over to take its place.
I was going to add one final point on that. A lot of clients are interested in where their data lives and how secure is it from other people accessing their data. And Merlin maintains not just separate client databases, but separate client servers for each of their client projects. So all the data is segregated in that only you as a client can access your client data, and no other client can even access it in any way.
And before we move on to the next question, Matt, also, since we've been talking about cloud, and I know that even recently more and more people I talk to use things like Dropbox or BoxNet to share documents or to store documents, and that is very much the cloud. However, the system that we have in place would be categorized as a private cloud, meaning they're privately owned. We own the servers. We control the location of them and the security around them. Googling a term, Googling something like Dropbox security, you may, if you're using those tools like Dropbox now, you may see some alarming articles out there because the cloud that they're on, they're essentially using publicly open servers for their storage. And there's been many accounts of access to people's private documents accidentally being given to other folks. So I would, although I understand the benefits of using quick and easy web tools like that, I would advise caution on using those for critical confidential client data for these types of cases.
And one other last part of this, especially within a case, level review is set up also with permissions. So if you're sharing some of the data with an expert witness or an outside counsel, we can, control what a person can see, what they can do at a very granular level. So, there's quite a few levels here as far as keeping the information that you want viewed secure.
Okay, great. We have one final question in the queue, and then I think if we could go back to the screen share of the actual system, I think it would be beneficial to go over some of the things that we've discussed during this Q&A session. New question here that says, after my documents are loaded on the Level Review 3.0, how long before everything is indexed and I can start using the search and other features?
That's a great question. The loading process, essentially as the documents are loaded onto the system, as a document gets loaded onto the system, the documents are indexed. So in this case scenario, it's going to depend on the entire volume of data you have and the type of data you have in terms of estimating the length of time. So kind of what I recommend in these situations is talk to, and every case is slightly different. So talk to your TASA representative or your MerlinOne representative and ask the questions based on your particular data set and the needs based on the documents that you have. There are documents that are much more text heavy or just larger with graphics, and those things in terms of saying a specific time frame to get them loaded, those all affect that. However, I will say that we have many clients that are up and running the same day as we receive the data. But it'll just depend on your specific data set. So in those cases, like I say, talk to your representative, and we'll be more than happy to help figure out what the timeline will be.
Okay, David or Shawn or Patty, do you want to take us on a tour of some of the more advanced features of the system as far as categorizing, flagging, that sort of thing?
Sure.
Maybe some of the analytics as well?
Why don't I go right there and just move back here. So before I get into coding, okay, let's talk a little bit about, analytical features. And basically what analytical features are is you can open up, you can return searches and we can start looking through documents. But what analytical features do, it's almost like taking a look at all the data at like a 10,000-foot level. So what we did here is previously we ran a search for stalking share. And we came back with 52 documents, but this could be, this search could have probably brought back about 5,200 hits. So what we're able to do is, let me just go to what we call the status tab, and I'm going to go to reports, and I'm going to go to search results. What we do in the system when we actually search documents, we record every search in the system. So here's my last search, stalking share. So let's say that returned 5,200 hits. What we're able to do is run this type of search and do a report on it, and what we're able to see is exactly who are the authors, who are the custodians from those 52 documents. So we see that Bill Rapp had 16, Jennifer Cox had 1. So what we're able to do here is, as we start to analyze these things, I could sit there and go, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time in the beginning looking at Jennifer Cox's documents, but Bill Rapp, I would probably dive in first. So this is a way where we start to, cull down and get to the information that we're starting to look for. Also, we can look at what is the makeup of that search. How many email, how many are office files, how many are video, and so on. So we can start to prioritize and start to categorize, different things as we go through the database. Another thing we can do is we get the data, and we have these 20,000 documents, and I know a few terms going in here. Well, one of the great things is I can start to test these terms, and this is called keyword frequency. So what I can do is come in, I can put in stock, and I can put in share, and I can put in account, and I can just start to, before I start looking through the database, before I start looking through documents, I can start to test some of these words. And what I'm going to do is just run this search, and what it's going to do, it's going to tell me exactly how many times these documents have uniquely hit inside the database. So the nice thing about it, if we knew that our case was about an account, about legal, about stock shares, and we got this information, we got the data from the other side, and none of these terms came up, then we know that the data that was being produced from the other side was, so to speak, bogus. So you would be able to go back to the judge and say, hey, we tested those keywords, and the data they gave us had nothing to do with what this case is about. So these are great ways to check what you have to see its validity. Another thing we can do, which I really love, is email domains. So what this is that we can look at conversations with people. So we could come in, I picked the custodian Bill Rapp, I could go in and I can start to see all the conversations that Bill had. So as I scroll down, I can see that, there was information, from Amazon. I might say that's irrelevant, but, there might be some information, from, the energy attorney. So I can open that up and start to look at that conversation. I can see who the people are. I can see exactly the total amount of conversations, if they were to or from somebody. So what we're doing is we're investigating what the data is about before we actually start the review. Now I'm going to move back to my search analysis screen, and let's go back to what we were talking about before, about tagging stuff. When people work with paper, they like to put little sticky notes, they like to put things in piles in their war room, but as I said before, you open up a window and all the tags blow away, then all of a sudden all your work product is gone. Well, electronically, what we do is we can actually code documents. So we have these 52 documents on stock and share. What we can do is come in here, and if these documents are responsive to our case, we can mark them responsive. Now, down below here, we have what we call issue codes. And what we can do is we can now place these little electronic flags to this information. Is it attorney's eyes only? Is it highly confidential? Are these annual reports? And are these documents, how significant are they? Are they hot, not hot, and so on? And you can customize all these. But what's nice about this is what I've just done is I can just absolutely apply these to all these documents. And now I've coded all these documents at once. So what's great about this is you look at these documents, you find out if they're responsive, what issues they cover, and now I can move on to the next step. Because the thing you have to remember with electronic data, you're now able to handle vast amounts of information. But the thing is, with these little flags or tags or codes, they become breadcrumbs of the things you're reviewing. So as we get to the end, we can start to come in here and we can start searching and we can start slicing and dicing. Let me look at all the responsive data that has to do with annual reports. That can be a search. Let me look at all the responsive data that has to do with contracts. That's hot. And we can start to prioritize and start to organize our data in a very clean fashion so we do not waste time.
Okay, great. Are there any other features that you think we should go over before we wrap things up today?
Absolutely. We saw one thing. One other thing that we did talk about in some of the slides and the discussion today is the ability to organize the data. Now, just like you would organize documents on your computer, in your My Documents folder, or in your Outlook, in folders on your Outlook email, we have the ability to create and manage documents within folders in a system like this. So as you can see on the left-hand side of the page, we just opened up the folder section. So inside you can see sections that are highlighted that look like file drawers, and within those we have folders. And these folders can be created and configured however you want to do your review and manage your case. We understand that each case is a little bit different. Each case team is a little bit different, and it's flexible to work however you want to work your case. So in this case here, we have these 52 documents that David tagged as responsive to his case. So we can go in and we can add these to any of these folders to save them there and organize. So we can, going forward, we know that these documents we put in this folder because they're related to a single item, whether it be an issue in our particular issue in our case, whether we want to organize all the responsive documents in the case, the privileged documents in the case, or even the documents that we want to have one of our expert witnesses come in and look at. And again, the benefit of a system like this and having some of these organizational capabilities is two people in completely different locations can manage and review the same documents and the same case documents simultaneously. So if you have documents that you need your expert to look at to give his opinion on, you can drop them in a folder for your expert witness with the name or however else you want to name it, and then they can go in and they can have their own private login, so they can log in, review the documents, and even they can do the tagging and categorization themselves, or even enter notes that you can then rely on as you continue to work your case. And again, they can do that in the same database that you're in. And another benefit of that is you don't have to rely on things such as shipping CDs or shipping boxes of paper across the country so they can review them and then ship back to you, or and then rely on emails back and forth to trade information about them. You can do all that right within the system without needing to use processes like that, which can break down. They can all do it you can do it all right in the system here.
Okay, great. David, if you just want to return us back to the presentation, we will wrap things up here. On behalf of everybody here at TASA, I want to thank David and Shawn and Patty for their time putting this presentation together and sharing this information with us. We do appreciate it. And for everybody in attendance who took time out of their busy schedule to join us today, we do thank you for your time. Just very briefly, if you'd like to speak to a TASA MerlinOne Level Review 3.0 account executive about this product, please contact us here at TASA. Our telephone number is 800-523-2319, or you can visit the TASA website, tasanet.com. As I indicated during the introduction, tomorrow morning I'll send out a link with the archived recording of this program. Included in that email will be a copy of the PowerPoint presentation used during today's program. You'll also get a thank you email from me, which will come into your inbox at 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. Included in that email is a link to the TASA MerlinOne website, where you can find more information about this very useful product. Our next webinar for legal professionals, railroad-grade crossing signal systems, how they work and why they fail, will take place tomorrow, Thursday, December 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any follow-up questions or comments, we take all of your comments under consideration, and they do help us to produce better programs. Please feel free to send an email to me. My email is mhyde@tasanet.com. With that, I will end today's program, and I look forward to seeing you at future TASA events.